Latin America, land of opportunities. Yeah, that's right. So this panel will showcase the Latin America landscape for development, international investment, and partnerships from the angle of the top studios in each country, okay? So Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and Uruguay. This session is in English, so if you want to watch it in Portuguese, just please access the link for the translation here on the channel. All right, so let's welcome, please, our moderator, Martina Santoro from Epic Games. How are you, Martina?
Hola, Aurora. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here and be meeting with all of these guys again. These are kind of like my family when I'm away in conferences. So it's a pleasure to get to talk to them.
Well,
today.
it's our pleasure to have you here with us. And of course, I will introduce you as well to Alejandro Gonzalez, General Manager and Studio Director at Gem City, Álvaro Azofra, co-founder at Ironhide Game Studio, Jorge Suarez Bañanes, General Manager of Ember, Juan Pablo Lastra, Tech Director of Giant Monkey Robots, Louis Wong, Head of Studio of Leap Game Studios, Martin Kao, CEO of Nimble Giant Entertainment, and for last but not least, Sandro Manfredini, Partner and Business Director of Aquarius. How are you guys?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Nice to meet you.
Super happy.
Thank you very much.
That's great. So the screen is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Barbara. As we were talking earlier, these guys are working in the main studios around Latin America, and they have a ton of experience on different areas on the game development process. So today we wanted to talk and discuss a bit of some different experiences they had in their local countries. Some of them working as independent teams, publishing their own titles, their own IPs. In other, working with third parties, with publishers, with investors from around the world. So, guys, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about each of you and about your companies, I would like to have you, Jorge, start with you and Amber, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You can hear me, right? Just make a noise.
Loud and clear, yes.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having us over here. I come from amberstudio.com, Amber, Mexico. We are basically a game development and studio services agency. I used to be the co-founder of a small indie studio named Cara Oculta and a community. And we got acquired by Amber, and we became Amber Mexico. And the cool thing about it is that Amber is developing this network of studios within itself. So Cara Oculta survive as itself, and I think it's a historic thing for us in Mexico. It had not happened before, and we are growing like crazy, and we're very happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Álvaro, your experience from Ironhide in Uruguay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Well, I'm co-founder and co-director of Ironhide Game Studio, better known for our Kingdom Rush games and Iron Marines. And we've been in the industry for more than 10 years, started as on the Flash industry, then went into mobile and kept growing the company. Today, we are 45 people across 4 teams. Each team makes their own game. We publish our own games, and our motto is we make the games we like to play, and that's actually true. And now we are releasing our next game. It's an RPG on the Legends of Kingdom Rush, and we have other 3 projects in the pipeline, a sequel, I cannot say much more than that, a new tower defense game, and a secret project.
You're super busy also. That's amazing news for all the fans also that are there in the audience. Alejandro, would you like to come next?
Sure. So I'm Alejandro Gonzalez. I'm a co-general manager at the Jam City, Bogota. Our studio was actually as with the Cara Oculta acquired, but we were acquired by Jam City, which is a US-based developer and publisher. We originally started in 2010 making mobile games with Jairo Nieto and a team of 30 to 40 people. And when we were working on a game called World War II, we were acquired by Jam City, which published the game, and we are working on some new projects as well as part of the Jam City Bogota studio.
That's also amazing. Can you follow up, Sandro, telling your experience with Akiris, please?
Sure thing. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for Gustavo and everybody involved in this big festival. It's congratulations to put this together again, even in a digital form, but it's quite important, I think, for the main region. So I'm the business director at Akiris. I've been in the industry for a little bit more than 10 years. Still feeling like I'm new in this, always learning, and the industry changing a lot. But Akiris itself, it has almost 15 years, and in our trajectory, we've done from the pure work for hire here in Brazil, then doing more partnerships abroad with companies like Cartoon Network and etc. Then migrating to co-publishing projects like we have with Scopely on the Looney Tunes title. And we've been migrating even more and more to proprietary IPs. We launched Horizon Chase, and recently we launched Wonderbox on Apple Arcade service. So a lot of things going on our side as well. A team of more than 150 talented people here in Brazil. So this is a summary of Akiris.
That's amazing. And you, Martin? Can you tell us a little bit more about Nimble Giant?
Yes. Hello, guys. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Martin Cao. I'm the CEO of Nimble Giant. Nimble Giant was founded almost 20 years ago as NGD Studios, by the name of NGD Studios, mostly known for our game Champions of Regnum, that a game that was released almost 15 years ago that we still maintain. Most recently, we also launched the remake of Master of Orion, and even more recently, we launched Quantum League. That's a game that won an award like 2 years ago, I think, at Big Festival, when we were all being able for celebrating and being all in São Paulo. That was good times. And now, less than 6 months ago, we were acquired by Embracer Group, which is a Swedish group that has lots of companies, like, for example, Borderlands and many other big name companies. And we're also looking to expand the operations, especially within the region of Latin America. Thanks.
Thank you. Luis Wong from LIP in Peru.
Hey, how's everyone? I'm Luis from Peru. I'm one of the co-founders of LIP Game Studios, and I'm also the head of studios. We have been making games since 2012. Initially, we started doing lots of work for hire. And since 2016, we started making and focusing on our own IPs. Currently, we have 4 teams working on multiple projects. 2 of them are nominated in this year's big awards, so we are very happy about that. And our next release is Tunche, which should be coming out very soon, and it's a beat 'em up set in the Amazon rainforest with hand-drawn animations.
Thank you, Luis. And JP from Chile, from Giant Monkey Robot.
Thank you, Martina. Hi, everybody. Very happy to be here too, and to see familiar faces, as all of you were already saying. Actually, I started this right in the industry like in 2000 with some very old friends. Then in Wanago Games that eventually got acquired by Sierra Online, and then by Behavior. In that crazy ride, we did some things, some very interesting things like Assault Heroes, mini golf for the old Xbox 360, then the Tetris at the PSN and the PS3, Fallout Shelter in 2015. So it was a very fun ride. But eventually, me and other guys at Behavior decided to start something new and to try like our own ideas. So we founded Giant Monkey Robot in 2017. Started with some VR project, then some live ops, We have been doing a console with another Chilean group in Ace Team, Rock of Ages 3. And 6 months ago, approximately, we also got acquired by Globant. So now we are part of a huge family. It's more than 17,000 people, I believe. And we are just starting to get used to the huge amount of support that we can get from such a bigger company, and because of that, to empower us to do even more ambitious projects and work with bigger parties and partners, etc. So it's been very fun, and we are very interested in expanding the projects and opportunities we are working on.
Gracias, JP. So we are here tearing down the myth that there are no games being developed in Latin America. These amazing companies are making games from mobile to console to VR with huge international known IPs, and with IPs that they build themselves. They have their own communities and their own fans. Something I wanted to ask you, and this is an open question for all of you guys, it's what do you think an investor or someone that is coming from outside and it's looking to work with a Latin game dev studio, what do you think it's important for them to know? What are the biggest advantages that they will find in Latin America? Oh, come on. You are not this shy. I know you guys.
We're gonna all go up the same bombs, right? So it's gonna be for sure maybe a bit of the cost, obviously, and the different exchanges and the nearshore experience, and we can speak English maybe. So it's a location kind of thing that actually helps it out to be in the same time zone, and that's important for certain clients, partners, or publishers. What else, you guys? There's a ton of stuff, right? Like talent, obviously.
I was going to say that talent, of course. There's also this thing that, well, we have talked about that a lot, sometimes with a beer at hand, that there's like every culture, Latin America or Europe or Asia or wherever, has its own like way of doing things in everything in life. And as video game, as the industry in general, it's a cultural experience. We are putting something of our own in the products that we are doing. There's something special about it. Like the very same game design document, the very same technical document, whatever, will be executed no matter what in a different way in Latin America than in other places around the world. And we really find a value in that. We obviously, because we're Latin American, but we feel that it's something that we can do in a very unique and with a lot of excellence and quality, and we're very happy about it. And because of that, we have seen very unique products coming from the territory, and there will be for sure a lot of more unique experiences coming from here because of that unique talent that it's around in Latin America.
I would also add that on top of the talent, I think that Latin America is very special in terms of creativity. The fact that we are very compatible for the most part with North America, pop culture, and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, Latin America is full of chaos. Like everything in Latin America tends to be upside down, and what makes total sense here, it's absurd, probably for many people in North America. And that I think that kind of familiarity, but absurdness, and that kind of Latin flavor, sort of, and I don't want to be corny about it, but kind of in the good sense, you see it in the music, and you see it like in art and photography. It's very rich, very colorful, very expressive, but at the same time, it's sort of similar to North American, or it's like compatible to North American pop culture. So I think that appeal, it's very interesting, and to the point of Latin America being unique in what we do or how we interpret, for example, agility. I think it's a lot to do with our way of perceiving our surrounding.
Yeah,
there's no cultural barrier, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Just to
I will
add on the talent point is one thing I like about Latin America or everyone I met is that people when they do the work, they're usually used to wear many hats. So if there is any challenge, they will adapt to it. An artist is just an animator or a concept artist. They do everything. A programmer will program in any language. So it's something that is each team is very versatile on what they do and how they do it. And I think that adds a lot to the execution of the projects.
And on top of that, I think that the teams around the region have started to learn more on how to execute the ideas correctly and on budget and with great quality. And that is because in most territories there are studios that at least have 10 years of experience. And that's how and why we are starting to see cases of games that or are already successful or are in the way to become very successful. And we are seeing that all around Latin America with games like Cristels in Colombia, for example, the Signifier in Chile, and Quantum League in Argentina, for example, just to name a few of them. So I think that after 5 or 8 years starting to make games and talking with each other and meeting at GDC and talking with lots of partners, we are finally starting to see all of these success stories that we have always wanted to see in the region.
Yeah, I think on top of that, sorry, go ahead, Alvaro.
No, that's.
No, I was thinking about the diamonds in the rough. I mean, there are so many indie cool teams that are diamonds in the rough, right? I mean, we've never seen that before as a critical mass. And I believe there's like a critical mass of small teams that are awesome right now. And we should be like really aware if we can just hire them or if they're going to just make a success story, just as Luis said or something. I think that's super interesting.
And I think knowing that we are not on the tier 1 powerhouses development countries, we definitely work harder to catch up with those guys. So this that are important layer that people will find here in Latam in the whole region, and also the maturity. I mean, I'm talking for the Brazil at least. I mean, the game industry here has changed a lot in the last 10 years. So if we had a boom with the mobile device platform in the early 2010, from now we've seen a lot of new companies growing and not focusing on just mobile, but also cross-platform with the PC. When Steam came with the early access program in the mid 2015 and so on. And nowadays we've seen a lot of new projects coming to Coulson as well. So I think we have all the maturity that people expect from a tier 1 development country.
Alvaro, yes, please.
On a more practical side, from the investor point of view, I think Latin America supports game developers. In Uruguay, at least, there is a tax incentive. There is 0% tax on our revenue from abroad. So that really helps game developers locally, and I'm sure that other countries as well.
Yeah, I will add. I would just they said it also. I think we are repeating ourselves, but I think that one of the ingredients that I don't know if you can measure it financially, but that we have definitely as a region and we have in common is the passion that our people has making games. We have many stories about people that chose to make games not because they're going to get rich by making games, but that's because what they want to do, they love what they do. And you don't hear many stories like this. Of course, I'm not saying that it's only for Latin America. This can happen in Sweden or in Korea or whatever, right? But in Latin America, usually like the stereotype that we have, like being more passionate about life and dance and food and things, it also applies to this art that is making video games. And I think it's hard sometimes to put that into the financial equation of a company or the value of a company. But I think I truly believe that definitely that will play a role within the years, right? Like they were, my fellow mates were saying that now we have a maturity of the sector. We have access to capital because we didn't have that before. It's more easy for us to raise capital. So I think more and more you will see more companies and titles and teams coming from Latin America and doing great world-class things, right?
Thank you, guys. And if you should mention a bit of the challenges you've been facing, and also mention what kind of measures you as a company had to take to solve them, or maybe if you got any assistance from your local governments and institutions, what would it be? Something I always find when talking with studios, it's we need a bigger boat, right? We need more people. It's a lot of work is coming into the region, a lot of investments, and we need more of these talented people to actually know that they can work in this industry. How have you been onboarding the situation in your studios?
Well,
I think, yeah, sorry, go.
I do believe we need career acceleration programs. You're going to hate me for this one, Martina, but yeah, we need some help, please. I mean, we cannot make a baby with 9 women in 1 month, right? And we need some help. And to find senior guys everywhere, it's just kind of hard because we're an emerging market somehow. And obviously, if you bring them from abroad, depending from where they come, it's hard too. So working together, I think it has been great. And now that we are working from everywhere, right, has opened like a new door for this. But still, the radical collocation needed to just tackle certain creative problems is there. We still have the studio. We're going to keep on paying it. We need people together too in order to tackle certain problems, right? So we are 160 and growing plus interns right now, and it's crazy just to solve a creative problem when everyone's away, right? It even feels awkward, right? Ourselves, I mean, we're super messy when we're together, and when you mute everything, it just feels this way, like on the process too. So you kind of miss that noise, and you miss hugging Martin and bringing that energy to the whole process. And I think we need that career acceleration programs for that just to help us grow like the juniors and the mid-level people and the mid-level talent.
Martin?
Jorge, can you please hand me the Corona you have on the side as we speak? I'm just kidding. I was going to say, I think there's two sides of it, right? The challenges for one hand, if we talk about investments, and if there's any investor watching this panel, I would say that definitely one of the challenges is the regulations that we have, the laws, the governments. It's definitely not the US, it's definitely not the Nordic countries, but once you know how to do it, how to handle with those regulations, taxes, and rules that we have, I think that's a clear path to growth, and we are seeing things like the studio of Jorge or Sandro that are growing super fast with super world-class projects, etc. And from a studio perspective, I think, like Jorge was saying, of course, finding talent is hard for anyone, right? Either if you're based in the US, Canada, or Korea, wherever you are, it's hard to find good talent. But I think one of the challenges that we will face as a whole, as an industry, especially talking about LATAM, which is the panel today, right? So I think one of the challenges that we will have is changing our mindsets, right? Because we come from a mindset where we are always the lacking behind. We are the last student. We are always seeing us as people that is not there yet, right? We are Latin people. And we are not world-class people. Whenever we go to a meeting, it's like, oh, but you're in South America, right? You're in those, I mean, from Mexico to Argentina, most of these people that handle these big corporations, they don't even know sometimes which is which, right? Or if we speak Spanish, if we speak Portuguese. So, and I'm not saying if it's a good or a bad thing that this happens, right? So I think changing that mindset and believing in ourselves that we can be on top of the game, instead of just going and begging for a project or begging for doing this or that, just believing in ourselves and starting doing things the things that we are doing, right? That these guys in this panel are doing, that is world-class games. And and hopefully, in my opinion, right, this is like not a romantic view, but I think, I hope that one time someone is talking about ourselves and they don't even know where we're coming from, because that means you made it, right? Nobody cares who the one that made that Pixar movie. You don't know where they did it, right? But you love that movie. So I hope that all of us can do these kind of games, right? And then, of course, with the beer in hand, we will find that, oh, this game was made in Chile, this game was made in Brazil. That would be a fun story to tell.
Yes, and I think that now with coronavirus, that's kind of like the situation for everybody, and I think it's an advantage actually, right? Like the game opened for a lot of people that maybe wasn't possible for them to travel to the US to participate at GDC or to Germany to attend Gamescom. Now everybody gets a chance to participate in great events like big and get to know people and talk one-to-one in these meetings, and I think it's an amazing opportunity that everybody should take. In something specifically, I wanted people to know, Martin, you told me about this program that you have, for example, inside of your company to help students complete their studies and getting into the industry and get some experience with your most senior developers. Can you tell us a little bit about how you handle that need for training new talent?
Yeah, sure. Please don't copy our strategy, guys, okay? But I'm going to disclose something that is not new, of course, but yeah, since we found that sometimes reaching the top talent, the most senior guys, is really hard, especially when you're not one of the big guys and you're not working on the big titles. One thing we do, and we've been doing this for like the last 4 or 5 years, is as many of these people also is doing, right, is training people. So one of the things that we were facing with some of the academies here was that sometimes most of the academic institutions, when you hire a student, they will quit their studies and they will start working full-time, and they will forget about their studies because they will think, or they will balance that the work experience gives them more experience than what they are learning at school, right? So since we also think that learning the concepts and what they're learning in the academy is important too, we made this partnership with one of the biggest academies here in Argentina, that it's called Image Campus. We can do it with other academies, that we pay part of their studies as saying to the academy, hey, we are in this together. We don't want them to steal it from you, right? We want everyone wins, because we want the best talent. We want them to finish their studies. And I think one of the most important things that we learned also is that it's really difficult to train them in a similar way that they will learn from doing the things, right? We talk about this, Marty, yesterday, or I don't remember when. So it's a very different experience and learning. And this applies to every other job that is out there, right? It's not the same thing that studying something or doing a case that going to do the actual work. And I think we have lots of talent. It's like they were saying, like a rough diamond. So we have a lot of talent there, and capturing that talent and training that talent. And then, of course, one of the hardest part would be retaining that talent, right? Because once they are top of the game, that's the key. Yeah, exactly. They sometimes they want to move forward to other companies, and sometimes these companies are not based in Latin America. So that's the other big challenge.
The thing about training people is an issue that I know from talking with some of you in previous events. It's common to all of us. In the particular case of Chile, for a long time, there was no way to formally learn anything about video games. Like you could do a standard engineering, computing engineering career at the university, or visual design or whatever. But if you wanted to really be a game programmer or anything like that, either you got as a junior engineer into a company and learn everything there, or you learn on your own and then got into a company. There was no formal education. And then some careers started to appear, but they were trying to do this kind of, we will teach you to develop video games, like in general, and they were, in my honest opinion and from many other people, a disaster, because you were just trying to teach them to do everything, and that doesn't work in reality. So only in the last couple of years, finally, some more specific careers have been starting to appear in Chile, at least. And I know that when I visited a big festival in 2015, I believe, in Brazil, I was very surprised to learn that there were like careers, complete careers, doing some video game specific thing, which is great, but and probably has to do with the scale of Brazil as a country, and the size of the industry. But that was not the reality in countries like Chile, and it's only now coming to them. So training that people is always a challenge for us, and only really big companies are able to do that in-house. The rest needs just to get junior people, or have the real luck to get a senior people that learn on their own, basically.
I think that the challenges like for the industry are like chasing a moving target. Although like challenges 10 years ago were that nobody knew that Latin Americans could make a video game. You know, like it was really rare when you sit down with a publisher that they would see reputation in Latin America for that purpose. I think that's changed in a good way, thanks to all of the people here and many other developers that are doing world-class or producing world-class games. That makes it easier for us. But also, I think that one of the bigger challenges regarding kind of hiring, retaining, and kind of producing a top-notch talent is there. I think it's there for all of the countries. Like getting senior talent in some areas is just impossible. Not even because they don't teach that at school, but also because many of the developers in LATAM have not had the experience to scale games to a certain amount to actually know what they don't know. You know, a lot of us simply don't know what we don't know, so it's easy to screw up. But I think that as time is passing, more of the industry becomes a little bit more experienced, and also thanks to the pandemic, kind of looking at the bright side of the story, that more very mature talent in areas that are not typical in Latin America are starting to look at working for Latin American studios like something that can be interesting for them. So I think that all in all, challenges regarding kind of know-how definitely are a matter of working together as we do with the Latin American studios. It's a shame that we've not been able to meet like in person for over a year, but I think that keeping this kind of relationship of working together just helps bridge bridges locally, like in the Colombian industry. We try to do that a lot, but also regionally. And then trying to be a little bit more conscious that if we don't know anything about X or Y, then we just need to bring that talent wherever it's located. And I think that right now it's not as impossible as it was before to convince a guy from Finland to come like or to work for a Latin American studio to do, I don't know, user acquisition or marketing or whatever area we're lacking on.
Just to add on that, it's an issue of maturity of the industry of each country. In Uruguay, it is quite young, so it may be a challenge to get senior on free-to-play game. So what we do as a company is, of course, like everybody does, is to train in-house in the company or from juniors, but also in Uruguay we have the CABI Association. It's a game developer association that serves as a bridge between the companies. So we collaborate with each other, but also collaborate with the universities to give guidance on what we need, what is the best way to do a career there. And I think that as years go by, the industry gets more mature and we get better professionals. If we get investments or companies land in Uruguay and they create more professionals, it's good for everyone. So what I like it is a very friendly ecosystem. There is some sort of competition, but at least Uruguay is very friendly. So we share with every company advice, how to help. Even between us in this panel, we have shared tips and things on how to move forward. And it's good for each country and it's good for the industry in Latin.
I think talent is a problem to every industry, and not only here in Brazil or Latin America. I think it overall in through all those other countries, they lack of talent as well. So I think the good news and what pushes everything forward is investment. So we've been approached not Akira specifically, but all other Brazilian companies being approached by strategic investors or financial investors, etc. And this can push all the industry forward. So I think there are good news coming this way.
And sorry, to try and move to the next question, maybe Luis, you can also answer this one. There has been actually a lot of interest internationally of companies that are investing in the region or generating specific partnerships, not only publishers, but also hardware developer companies, platforms. Can you guys share a bit about your experience on these cases, and also try to, if you can answer a second question, because we are running out of time, and I'd like to add some of the questions from our audience. What it is, what success means to you? Also, that would be like a second question. Like in these initiatives where you have investment from abroad or you partner up with another company, how do you measure that success? I don't think success is the same for everybody, right? So if you can tell us a bit about your good experiences, please.
Yeah,
Luis?
sure. Yeah, replying to that first question, yes, we have seen a lot of interest that has been increasing in the last year and a half, probably also because of the pandemic. And one reason I think it's because they feel more comfortable working with Latin American studios. So, for example, with a couple of publishers in which we have been talking with in the last couple of months, they both have been working with the studios from Latin America with very good results. And they are very happy about that. So that makes the conversation more easy to have with them. And also to have budgets that are more similar to the ones that they could have with studios from Western Europe or from the United States, for example. Something that has worked very, very good for us, that also has relationship with the previous question, was not only to have a publishing relationship with these companies, but also try to do co-productions with the studios from another regions. So in our case, for example, in Peru, we don't have people with 20 years of experience programming engines, for example, which might be the case maybe in Chile or in Argentina, but at least in Peru, we don't have that experience. So something that we have done is to make a cooperation relationship with teams from other parts of the world that have that kind of experience. So there's kind of a knowledge transfer between those studios, and that has worked very, very good for us in the last year. And replying to the second question about what does success means to us, I guess that for every studio that's a different answer. For us, the most important thing is to make games that are either very unique. For example, we released a game called Arok, which is a black and white game experience that is very artistic, for example, and very, very independent, without a lot of commercial idea in mind, but it feels very unique. And the other type of games that we usually make are games that try to be the best games of that genre specific. So our idea for success is try to make those type of games while at the same time maintaining a good health of the team, both physically and also mental health for the team. And that is very, very special for us. And I think that if you ask what is success for us in 5 years, is continue to make those type of games while maintaining the right team at the studio. If in the meantime we get a hit or if we get acquired, that could be a consequence, but it's not specifically what we're looking at this moment.
Thank you. Sandro?
Yeah, I can handle that. So yeah, I think as Luis was saying, this pandemic moment as well bring us to the feeling that how privileged we are in this industry, being able to work from home and being able to having our games out there, selling those games, and even having better numbers for those games nowadays with people more at home and etc. So I think we are living somehow the success of being able to develop the games that we want to develop, put our passion on our new IPs and etc. We were so happy with this, talking on about Akiris, but putting Wonderbox out there. But I can mention a few other companies here in Brazil, Mad Mimic with new games, Monomito coming with a new one, Petit Fabrique just released a new trailer. So a lot of companies here in Brazil launching new and world-class games. So I think we are a very privileged moment, and if you can keep that, that's totally fine.
Thank you, Sandro. And for example, you, Alvaro, you've been working on mobile, on PC. You brought your games to Switch. Can you tell us a little bit about how you handle those partnerships and if those games turn out to be a success, as I guess they have?
It's not, no, we self-publish all our games. So we want to have our games on as much platforms as possible to have biggest distribution. Our main platform is mobile, but we will still want to go to PC, we want to go into console. VR won't work for Kingdom Rush, at least for the moment. But our main driver is to get more people to be able to play our games. That is our passion. And they are good platforms, the revenue is good, but our main source is mobile.
Alejandro, would you like to tell us a little bit about your partnership with Jam City?
Of course. Well, we were independent for about 7 years. We were lucky enough that we could, for 7 years, produce our own games, worked on original IP, which is something that we're passionate about, one of the most things that we are passionate about. But as time passed, the market started to consolidate. Before, when we were starting, it was very rare to see this sort of M&A activity, like acquisitions. But the more that time passed, we started receiving offers, and as I'm probably sure most of you guys have received at some point. And it made kind of sense because we got acquired to continue producing our own titles. We did not get acquired to convert into like a for hire sort of like outsourcing or we did not get like actually hired, but actually acquired for our IP, and that is like a beautiful. One of the things that really struck me this morning was seeing that more than half of the people of the studios here in the panel have been acquired as well, which if you had done the panel 5 years ago would have not been there by a long shot. It was very rare, and now like you don't get amused if there's like a acquisition in Latin America. It's not rare. And I think that the value that Latin Americans bring into the table is becoming really apparent. And I think that top tier developers and publishers for any given platform have one eye put on the region, and if they don't, they should. So probably the I see it as fairly natural. It also gives a company like ours the resources to learn more, to probably breach out some of the gaps that we didn't have or that we did have before, and learn a lot more about the stuff that we didn't know. So yeah, it was like a sort of timing and a lot of I wouldn't say luck, but just the right for other studios here in the table.
Thanks, Ali. Jorge, I have a question from the audience. Maybe you guys can start answering some of this. What lessons have you learned from the first investment you ever received?
Well, that's interesting. Well, our first investment was from Cinépolis. It's like the fourth largest movie theater company in the world, and that was weird. We were an indie company, and we went through their acceleration program, and it was awesome, right? And they were looking for something to complement their business model, and that's interesting. Then it was again. We went through Shark Tank. We went through like the whole thing with the Google Launchpad and all that stuff. Lived for a year in Silicon Valley before actually a Romanian company came over and with no VC capital, just with their own sales, and acquired us. So that was like super interesting. The thing that I really cherish the most is, and I do believe I'm really going to use the word luck here, because I wasn't expecting this to happen at all. So I really feel super lucky, because you can only connect, just like Steve Jobs said, right? Like the dots backwards. You cannot see forward. So I guess it was because of everything that we had done before. And we were lucky that they found us, and they are awesome. And they went global, and now there's studios everywhere. So that first investment just cheered us up and gave us hope and gave us faith to keep on going forward, right? As an indie studio, we're doing something right? And they didn't get any equity. It was just like part of the acceleration program. So was it kind of an investment? Was it kind of it was, right? In many ways. But this type of situation, this M&A, right? And retaining our own identity, being able to do IPs while you're still doing and giving service, right? What Amber's trying to do is to have a leading position in every segment of the game development value chain. It's amazingly difficult, and that's what it's awesome. We're here because it's difficult, and we want to make it happen, right? So that's exciting by itself, and it keeps on pouring money in, thank God, and let's see what comes after that.
Awesome. And you, Martin?
Yeah, so about the investment, I would say that it's always exciting and makes you happy that someone wants to buy your company, right? The thing that you created with work and effort, regardless of the terms of the acquisition, regardless of the valuation, that someone is interested in what you have, right, is really exciting, and you should be proud and happy for what you created and what you did. In our case, what is the experience of being acquired or being part of a larger group? I think whenever, like us, we are the group is a stock listed company, right? So that means that it's a public company, and many people that is just on their computer, they can buy a stock of this company, right? So the fact that this can happen makes you have lots of processes and regulations and rules, and you have to focus a lot on these things. Where when you are an independent company, you can run things differently, right? In a different way. There's no so many needs for reports, and there's, of course, it's two sides of the same coin, right? For one hand, of course, it makes you have to work more on these kind of things, but on the other hand, it's super interesting because it forces you to be more professional, to make less, mistakes. And also to kind of report to the people that own your company what you're doing, what is the use of the money, what is your next project. Maybe it's directly or it's indirectly, but this thing that it forces you to work this way, I think it's really it's a unique experience. I would advise anyone that wants to handle a company like to go through this experience, because it's super enriching and it's quite unique. So I never did this before for a public company with this kind of responsibility, right? And it's great. So in our case, was everything for the better, and also looking forward to the future with this growth and expansion plans that we have now, being part of a larger group. Like Alejandro was saying, like the consolidation is evident. The consolidation of the industry is a fact, and it's happening for the last few years. So we are happy that we are with this group, and looking forward to the future. And just to measure the success, like you were saying, we have a couple of projects that we cannot disclose, but we would likely measure if the success with those projects that we should launch within the next 3-4 years.
Thank you. It's really amazing to see you guys. I was just thinking, like, all of you are members of your local associations. All of you were members of the board, of heads of industry. And there is someone in the audience who is asking, what are your thoughts about the cooperation initiatives in Latin America between these different organizations? I think it's in my personal opinion, right, that it's really interesting to see how we also grown as a community. I remember when we were going to the first events, I don't know, in Eva, and then going to the Colombians and coming back in a plane with Martin saying like, have you seen what the Colombians did? We need to, we have to do that. We have to do better. Or I don't know if we are all going too big. Like inviting more people from around the world. And it was kind of like an opportunity, or I don't know if we were meeting all together at Gamescom. I think it was something that we understood that as a community, that we could all grow together. What do you think are other opportunities of collaboration between these countries? Are all these investments or opportunities coming from abroad?
Yeah, if I can talk a bit about that. Like I remember in 2012 how I met most of you, Martina and all of these gentlemen in Chile, in Argentina, in Uruguay, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, and how we were discussing at that time, how are we going to make this happen? Not only for us, but also for all the studios of our countries. And I remember a conversation that I had with Juan Pablo. I remember, I think it was in Chile, maybe in Valparaiso, where we were talking like, we're working a lot and we are doing a lot of progress, but probably it won't happen. Like this will be for the other studios. It won't be for us. But we said, we need to do this. Like this is our responsibility. We should do this. And finally, I think that even though most of us are not at our associations at this moment, like we are not the presidents or anything, I think the people that are working now are continuing the work that we did in 2012, and that's very important. And I think that's one of the reasons why there are a lot of success cases around the region. I remember some milestones, for example. I remember the first Latin American party at GDC, for example. I remember the meetings that we had at Mixur in Mar del Plata, or the events in big festival, for example, the first big festivals, and the Colombia 4.0 or 3.0, I remember. So I think it was a long road of work together that has helped to reach this point. So I'm very happy about that.
It was Valdivia 2013. I do remember too.
Yeah.
It's been a long ride, and all of those memories that you were mentioning. Yeah, definitely. The collaborations has been very nice, and the good thing about it is that I think that there was none of us was actually like planning to do so. It kind of started naturally because we quickly realized that if we were, I don't know, at GDC or whatever, having the chance to meet any of you, like taking a beer, talking about the meetings that you had, or hearing that, I don't know, Luis was just meeting somebody that had a connection with X kind of project, and somebody on the guys that were with me on the trip was also looking with some connection. So Luis was offering to do that contact. Those kind of like ad hoc networking between all the Latin guys going to GDC or the Gamescom or whatever started naturally, and we very quickly realized that it was extremely valuable. Like as you were saying, Martina, like your conferences family. We were all looking for all of us in the next few ones, because it was not only good for the business, but it was also very fun, because of we coming from the same places and sharing a lot of anecdotes, and not only that, but common stories in our own countries with the same challenges and all that stuff. It was good to have like support on one hand, but also like share strategies, success stories, or failure stories too that could teach any of the other guys on hopefully not to do the same mistakes again or whatever. So it has really been very positive, and as you were saying, like starting to see results, like that we are on the map, that Latin America is identified as land of opportunities, like in the panel name, but also because there are investors really coming. It's obviously it's not that we made that happen. It's a lot of people that made that happen, but I'm pretty sure that we put a small grain of that, and I know that we are very proud of it, and we are very happy to continue to see those results. So that's been very, very fun.
Very well said, JP. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you guys. This has been an amazing panel. We just ran out of time to continue. Thank you again to Big for inviting us all to be here. It's amazing to see how much has it grown, the community, not only in Brazil, but in Latin America. And I'm thrilled that no matter what comes, even if it's COVID or whatever, we are still here and we are still working together. It's a very generous and loving community. I'm so proud of being a part of it. Thank you so much again. And Barbara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for moderating this, Martina. It was a pleasure to see you all talking about, well, Latin America and representing us in such a beautiful way. Together, we're mejores y mejores. Thank you so much.
Big Festival 2021, the biggest games festival in Latin America.